Well, hey guys, David here, and I wanted to do another video. This one's going to be talking about the cops, and I know that's a big sensitive subject, but I thought it'd be a good video to do because I've been doing some research, so I'm going to be using my computer over here. So if you see me looking over to the side, it's just because I'm using my computer for things that I wrote down so that I can give you statistical facts. But first I want to start with a little story about a friend of mine. I'm not going to use his real name. I'm just going to call him John. Well, John got out of school right when 9/11 happened. And when this happened, it filled him with a sense of patriotic fever, fueled by his religious upbringing. He joined the army, and he soon found himself cruising the streets of Baghdad, dodging IEDs and sniper fire. He never got used to the sound of whizzing bullets or exploding bombs. He saw a few buddies killed and a few dead civilians. He had nightmares at night, but he loved the brotherhood. He bought into all the propaganda and looked at the enemy like they were animals. When he finished his third tour and came home, he began to drink a little, and he got a few tattoos. He was diagnosed with PTSD, and he was given meds to sleep and to keep his nerves calm. Now, back in the world, he missed the camaraderie of the military, and he needed a job. He applied to the police force in his town and was hired. During his training, he once again felt that brotherhood, and everything seemed familiar again. The weapons, the work, just like back on the streets in Baghdad. He also bought into the propaganda once again. In America, we love war. We got the war on terror. And back at home, we have our wars. We got the war on poverty, the war on drugs, the war on crime. To a police officer with military training and PTSD, the roads of America look the same as the roads in Baghdad. Every civilian is a potential enemy, and every contact could be deadly. People say that there is no systematic racism in the police force, and I agree. The reason why is because when you become a police officer, it does not matter your sex or race, you're a cop. My friend told me this. The police is the largest multicultural gang in the world. The blue code of silence keeps your mouth shut because the other officer is your brother and your comrade in arms, and everyone who is not a cop is the enemy. That's what cops actually believe. The brown shirts were the Nazi thugs, the street brawlers, those out on the fringe meant to do the dirty work. These are your Proud Boys and your militias. Now the SS were the elite. They were the law, the special units, the mighty men in their fine uniforms, Hugo Boss. They were almost gentlemen soldiers. American cops are this country's SS squad. Every society needs policing, but the police are not judge, jury, and executioner. It says right there on their side of their car, to protect and serve. In America, that is what the police have become, judge, jury, and executioner. They are mostly former soldiers who did multiple tours of duty in recent wars and assuredly suffer from PTSD. Their military duty and their position of authority entitled them to respect in their own minds. My dad always told me that respect is earned. Cops will also tell you that they have the most dangerous job in the world, except the most recent 2019 Bureau of Labor Statistics show that their profession is only number 16. It is actually more deadly to be a roofer than a cop in 2019, and the number one job was a logger. FBI statistics show that in 2019, only 85 officers died in the line of duty, which is horrible. But it fails to mention that in 2019, cops killed over 5,000 suspects. These people were just suspects. They had not been convicted in a court of law. They hadn't been sentenced, but they're still dead. Now, people on the right will tell you, laughing, who are you going to call when you need help, a crackhead? Well, what I say to this is, let me have a gun and allow me to kill whoever I feel is a threat with no fear of being punished, and all the cops can quit tomorrow. The USA is the only country in the world that does not require its police officers to have a higher degree. In America, all you need is military service and the ability to do this. The reason the right so loves the police is that if you're rich, they keep the mobs out of your gated communities. The poor right loves the cops because, just like the cops, they are all gun nuts, and gun nuts stick together. When it comes to the laws in America, if a cop uses a stun gun on you, it's not considered a deadly weapon. But if you use a stun gun on a cop, then it is considered a deadly weapon. Don't make sense. Axon, the company that makes tasers and sells them to police officers, states on their own website that their product is 99.7% safe and is less lethal. So how is it that it's a deadly weapon if I use it on a cop, but if a cop uses it on me, it's not? Okay. Cops always say that they fear for their lives. If you're that scared, you shouldn't be a cop. I don't remember back in high school when people came to our school and talked to us about jobs, anybody sticking a gun to my head and saying, you're going to become a cop. And I'm like, no, sir, I don't want to be. You're going to become a cop. You know, you choose it. If you can't handle it, then don't be a cop. A cop will say he's a hero because he ran into a building that was being shot up. Well, that's your job. If I saw a meter maid running into a building being shot up, I would definitely call her a hero. It's like a fireman saying he's afraid of fire. It's a ridiculous statement. Cops fear for their lives. You have guns, tasers, body armor, handcuffs, and backup. Are you a pussy? What the hell? The right will also tell you that it's because America is so violent. That's why police have to be violent in return. Well, in England, only some police officers carry firearms. The duty of carrying firearms is done so by specifically trained firearm officers. What is so wrong with America in comparisons to England? England has crime, drugs, poverty, but their cops can get away without carrying guns. Maybe the reason why cops in England don't have to carry guns is because England has very strict gun laws. Wow, can you believe that? In a nation without guns, the cops are safer. In America, we are told that if you take the guns away, only the bad guys will have the guns. But that doesn't appear to be true. Without guns, a nation is a safer society for all. In Japan, you can't even own a gun. And last year, only 11 people died because of a gun. While in America, 15,000 people died. And this doesn't even count suicides. America has become a cult of death. Cops in their black uniforms are the Grim Reapers. A group called the Marshall Project surveyed over 500,000 people in prison and found out that a majority support Republicans over Democrats. The real reason why is mainly based on religious outreach within the prison system. The more religious a person is, the more likely they are to be a Republican. I was always looking for Jesus, and the reason I couldn't find him is because he was in prison. The only way that anybody can fight against the police is we have to defund their organizations and expose them on social media. On the website Injustice Watch, cops are being exposed for their racial and sexist views that they post on private Facebook pages. The real problem is that we have a bleed over of the militia members and the Proud Boy types with the cops. Our biggest mistake was when we thought that the brawlers and the professionals were different. They're one and the same. We have to defund the police, change the laws, and demilitarize the cops. If worse comes to worse, we have to battle them, but not in the streets, in the courts. We have to attack them more covertly. We have to redirect their funds and starve them. We have to demand that police receive yearly psychological testing and de-escalation training. And when they are not held accountable, we have to shame them in public. We need to destroy the myth of the hero cop with the most dangerous job in the world. We have to knock them off their own pedestals and force them to realize that respect is earned and not just given because you think you deserve it. We need a database that tracks dirty cops so they can't go like pedophile priests from city to city. If we do all this and still the dirty cops get away, well, then we need to change the laws. And one of the things that the cops need to realize is even though they like to think with this us against them mentality, I want to bring something up. I drew this, I don't know if you can see it too well, but here you have a little dot, a little bigger dot, and a little bigger space. This is the rich. This is the 1%. This is all of us in the middle class. And this down here is the poor of the poor. Now, there was this guy back in the 1800s. He was a robber baron, and his name was Jay Gould. And he once said, you can always hire one half of the poor to kill the other half of the poor. So the 1% look into this group, and they hire part of this poor group, because compared to the 1%, we are poor. And this part of the 1% keeps all of this part in their place and controls all of this part. These are the undesirables. You know, these are the people that the 1% look down on, like the brown people and the black people and all the people that are on welfare and things like that. The poor whites, the poor blacks, the poor Asians, the poor Mexicans. This is the middle class. So you hire out of this group to keep this group in line. So you can always hire one half of the poor to kill the other half of the poor. That's what Jay Gould said. This up here is the military and the police. They think they're different from us, but really they're just these guys up here, pawns. So that's my story, and that's what I'm sticking to. So anybody out there who believes that a police officer is your friend, all it takes is one encounter. And I'll end this video with just a little story of my own. Anybody who's watched my videos knows that I'm a nurse. Well, one night I was on call, and I got a call that one of our patients was suicidal and was in the process of trying to harm himself. So as I was heading up there, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I ran a yellow light. Well, cop pulled me over right away, comes up to my car and was like, you ran a red light. And I told him, sir, when I seen the light, it was yellow. And he was like, well, where are you going? And I said, well, I'm a nurse and I'm on call, and I got a call that a patient was trying to harm themselves. Well, he didn't give a shit about that. So He walks back to his car, takes my ID and everything, comes back, and of course he wrote me a ticket. And as he's talking to me, I'm like, okay, and he's like, okay, what? And I'm like, okay, sir, that's right. You know, just because you have a badge doesn't mean that you deserve my respect and authority. You know, that you're an authority figure. You're just a cop. That's all you are. You're just a freaking cop. This is David. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. Bye.